Death has accompanied humanity since the beginning of consciousness itself. Yet despite our intimate relationship with mortality, we rarely consider that death operates on two distinct planes of existence. The first is the biological cessation we all understand, the end of a human life. The second is far more abstract, yet equally profound, the death of ideas, beliefs, and concepts that once shaped civilizations. Today, we explore how these two forms of death mirror each other and why understanding both is essential to comprehending the human experience. When we speak of death in a person, we typically refer to the moment when biological functions cease permanently. The heart stops beating, brain activity ends, and the complex symphony of life falls silent. This process, while universal, remains deeply personal and culturally interpreted. Some cultures view death as a transition, others as a final endpoint. Yet regardless of belief, the physical reality remains constant. A life that once was, no longer is. But what happens to the ideas, memories, and influence of that person? Here we encounter the first intersection between personal death and conceptual mortality. While the individual dies, their contributions to human thought may live on indefinitely. Conversely, sometimes the ideas die long before the person does, relegated to irrelevance while their creator still breathes. This brings us to the death of concepts themselves. Ideas, like living organisms, have life cycles. They are born from human creativity and necessity. They grow and evolve through adoption and adaptation. They reach maturity when widely accepted, and eventually many face obsolescence and death. Consider how the concept of divine right of kings once dominated political thought across centuries, only to die a gradual death as democratic ideals emerged. The idea didn't simply vanish overnight, it experienced a prolonged decline, fighting for relevance before finally becoming a historical curiosity. The death of concepts follows patterns remarkably similar to biological death. There are sudden deaths, ideas killed instantly by revolutionary discoveries or catastrophic events. The geocentric model of the universe died a swift conceptual death when confronted with overwhelming astronomical evidence. Then there are slow, gradual deaths, concepts that fade over generations as new ideas slowly replace them. Religious practices, social customs, and scientific theories often follow this path, becoming increasingly irrelevant until they exist only in academic discussions. Some concepts experience what we might call conceptual resurrection, and ideas, once thought dead, returning to influence new generations. Stoic philosophy, declared obsolete for centuries, has found new life in modern psychological practice. These resurrections demonstrate that conceptual death, unlike biological death, is sometimes reversible. The relationship between these two forms of death reveals something profound about human nature. We are simultaneously fragile biological entities and vessels for potentially immortal ideas. A scientist may die, but their discoveries live on. A philosopher may perish, but their thoughts continue influencing minds centuries later. Yet equally, deeply held beliefs may die within us while we still live, transforming who we are as fundamentally as any physical change. Perhaps most intriguingly, we actively participate in both types of death. We cannot prevent our biological mortality, but we can choose which concepts live and die through our acceptance or rejection of ideas. Every time we abandon an outdated belief or embrace a new understanding, we participate in conceptual evolution, the death of old ideas making space for new ones. Understanding both forms of death enriches our perspective on existence itself. We are not merely biological beings awaiting inevitable death, nor are we simply carriers of static ideas. We are dynamic participants in the eternal cycle of creation and destruction, where personal mortality and conceptual evolution interweave to create the tapestry of human experience. In this light, both forms of death become not endings, but essential transitions in the ongoing story of consciousness itself.